Hi, welcome back to Family and Fit, where we talk fitness and how to integrate your busy lifestyle. So welcome to the Poverty Meal Planning series, where we're going to be going through how to make the most cheap, macro-friendly meals that we possibly can. We're going to kind of go through our methodology of balancing out cost versus macro-friendliness, because there's some products that are a little bit more expensive and a lot more macro-friendly, and there's some products that are, really macro-friendly and also very cheap. So you gotta find that balance of, macro-friendly and cheap, just because it can be a challenge to find macro-friendly cheap stuff. You can get macro-friendly stuff that is very expensive. It could be easy to rack up a bunch of money on your grocery bill when it comes to making macro-friendly meals and just staying on top of your diet and whatnot. So our meal for today is going to be tuna salad. This tuna salad that we're going to make is going to be a little bit different variant from what most people see, but this is also part of what makes it macro-friendly. And you can also mix and match different things that we use in this meal. You just got to make sure you track everything. And we're going to go ahead and go through today, track our cost of the meal. We're going to track the macros of the meal and how many servings we're getting out of the meal, and just overall document every bit of it. And this meal right here may not end up being the best of the best. I'm just going to be completely transparent with you. This is a process, and this is part of why we're doing the series, is so you can see this process of okay, we're going to make this recipe, and we try it out. We're like, oh, okay, it's all right, it's edible. But, maybe let's make it a little bit less macro-friendly and make it taste better. Or maybe you don't really have to mess up the macros at all to make it taste better. Maybe it's just like, instead of using, this product here, you maybe use double the amount of this other macro-friendly product. Because that's one of the easiest things, is to stretch out a meal with very macro-friendly, cheap products. So today is going to be tuna salad, and I have the vegetables that I'm going to be adding into this are spinach, which we're looking at 30 calories, 4 servings per bag, so 120 calories. Same thing here, this is onions, already chopped up, love it. And we're looking at 30 calories, 4 servings again, so another 120 calories. Got 3.5 servings at 25 calories. I'm just going to call that 120 calories again. And these are about $1.25 each. So very, very cheap. And if you can see, it's like $1.25, or, this is a total of what, $3.75 for, and I rounded up a little bit. On cost, you always want to round up a little bit. And same thing with macros. You always kind of want to round up on your macros, especially if you're trying to cut. If you're trying to bulk, then you might want to cut down on your macros a bit. You may want to underestimate. But yeah, so this is a very cheap start. The other vegetable that we'll be adding to this is dill pickle. We'll chop this up. We actually kind of like having the chunks in it, so we'll cut it into these size chunks. I'll show y'all whenever we go into making it. And then obviously tuna. As you can see here, we got the poverty tuna. Come on, camera, zoom in. Ugh. But yeah, poverty tuna, great value brand, isn't it? Yep, great value. And then we also got Miracle Whip Light. And I will go ahead and say this Miracle Whip Light is way, way better than it used to be. I think literally just a few years ago, this Miracle Whip Light, I couldn't even eat it. Like, it wasn't even worth it to cut back on the macros to eat this type of Miracle Whip, because it tasted like crap. It was like, it just tasted like it had a lot of filler in it, and that's how they made it more macro-friendly. But now it actually tastes really decent and almost tastes just the equivalent of regular Miracle Whip. We're Miracle Whip people, not mayonnaise people. Don't even like mayonnaise. So we're looking at 1 tablespoon is 20 calories, 10 of it from fat. 60 servings in here. And we're probably going to end up using half of this. There's about half of the container. So that's like 30 servings, so 30 times 20 is, it's like 600 calories. 600 calories, it seems like a lot, like you're eating 600 calories of mayonnaise, but after you make this voluminous meal, the 600 calories won't be hardly anything. It'll be very negligible to the overall macros in the meal. So I'm going to go ahead and get into opening up the tunas and all that, and just get started with that process. Another thing is, when we're done here, we'll bowl this out as best as we can, and that way we can get the serving sizes as equally distributed as possible. That way we can divide it at the end. That way we can divide it at the end to be able to count macros with it. I'm gonna go ahead and check back in with you after I get all these cans of tuna opened. And yeah, so we're gonna probably use, there's 4 cans here, 80 grams of protein in these 4 cans. Alright, so if we end up using all these cans of tuna we got here, I think it would be like 320 grams of protein. I'm expecting this to be very low calorie and very voluminous. Very, very voluminous. I got about half the cans of tuna opened and into this right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we are at the like 6 cup line, I think. Maybe 4 cup line. We're at the 4 cup line with nothing but tuna in here. I went ahead and drained off some of the water because what I do is I throw all the cans of tuna in there and I don't drain it off until, and I drain it off as a big batch. That way it just saves a little bit of time instead of having to drain each can. And then on top of that, it's harder to get the tuna out of the can if you drain the can first. So yeah, what I'll go ahead and do is, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some seasonings. I'm going to add some of the vegetables. That way it just makes it a little bit easier to mix. And I'll probably go ahead and mix the seasoning and the vegetables in now before I add in any more tuna. So the first thing I'm going to add is some black pepper. I personally like crushed pepper or this coarse pepper just because I like a kind of a peppery taste with my tuna salad. The seasoning that we're going to use, for today is going to be Old Bay seasoning. It's designed for like it's really designed for like seafood and poultry and whatnot. So this works really good with tuna salad. And stuff like sodiums, they'll help you with actually liking the meal a little bit more. And I personally love Cajun seasoning, so anything that's Cajun-y at all I love. But yeah, that'll make it, the sodiums in it will make it more appealing to your taste buds. Also, we might add just like a hair bit of like stevia to it as well, so we're not adding any more calories, but we're going to add a little bit of sweetness to it as well. Just also for the same principle, just the taste bud thing, because your taste buds can only really taste saltiness, sweetness, and like tartness. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add both things, or all the vegetables to it. I might only do half the bag of spinach for right now. We'll see. Now the tuna on this meal does add up, and you can't get too discouraged on like the initial price of the meal. Like just a rough guess, this is probably gonna be about $15, I could assume. But we'll probably be able to eat this for like lunch. I'll almost eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I really love tuna salad so much, and it's a main staple for me. And like I said, I just love it, so I can eat a lot of it. But for $15, I can literally probably eat all week and feed most of the family. Yeah, so the spinach is still hard and frozen. I went and poured those vegetables in there frozen. It can be cold on your hands, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to throw this in the microwave for a few seconds to kind of defrost the spinach a little bit. That way I can actually mix it up and not have to wait for it to defrost or have big chunks in the tuna salad. You really don't want big chunks in the tuna salad. And also the bell peppers and onions that I got were already pre-sliced. That's another thing that we're really trying to target, is make things fast, simple, and easy. We have 4 kids. We both work full-time, working overtime, especially if you consider the YouTube, the educating myself. My fiance just works like a dog at work. She works like 72 hours a week. So, you know, speed is a big deal as well. And then on top of that, you want to be able to save your money, and you want to be able to do fun things with your money, so you don't want to be spending it all on food. And if you got fitness goals too, you know, sometimes those two clash with each other. So, you know, we're gonna make this thing easy for you guys. So one of the other main ingredients that I almost forgot to tell you guys is egg whites. Most people put eggs in their tuna salad. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just leave them out. But I personally love the consistency better, and we're gonna go ahead and go with egg whites. And part of my reason for going so high in protein and making this almost all protein and hardly any fat and hardly any carbs is the sole fact that I want to be able to use stuff like chips to kind of dip this stuff And if I want to do avocado and bread and make a sandwich out of it like that, you're able to do that. You don't have to worry about it because it's not going to mess up your macros any, because this puts your protein level so high. I try to make my staple foods as high in protein as I can, almost entirely protein if I can, and then I can save my macros, my fat macros and my carb macros for stuff like chocolate bars and candy, or just some more unhealthy stuff that you just kind of happen to slip into eating, and it happens to everybody. You know, we do try to eat clean, and we try to eat like clean sources of fat, like eating guacamole and avocado and, you know, dark chocolate. But, you know, we do slip up and eat a lot of notorious Reese's. I'm just kidding. But those are delicious if you ain't tried them. Another thing is we're gonna be, I'll use probably I'm gonna use about a tablespoon of olive oil to cook these egg whites. Also, at the end of this video, we'll link up the price of everything. I'll itemize the price of all this. The tuna is really what's gonna add up the price. This is, I guess, about the same as a 4-pack of tuna. I think it's about like $2.50 or something like that for a carton of these. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I should have started these off sooner. I would advise starting your egg whites at the very beginning. That way, whenever you can just put them on low, you don't really have to pay attention to them. You can do this process of opening the cans and this and that, and by the time you're done, the eggs should be cooked. And just put them on low. There's a full thing of egg whites. To be honest, with as big as this is, I might go ahead and just do, I think I might add another thing of egg whites to it. I'm going to go ahead and cook these egg whites in 2 separate batches because I have the yellow egg whites and I have the white egg whites. The yellows are just done with egg dye, and my purpose for that is I'll take these yellow egg whites and I'll cut them up, throw them in there, and then I'll do the white egg whites, cook them, cut them up, put them in there. That way it gives the imitation that you have real eggs in there, and it doesn't just look like you have egg yellows or just egg whites in there. And more color just happens to make, you know, it's more appealing to the eye and just makes it look more appetizing. By the way, I set up a little box down here on the ground, and I'm just tossing everything in. That's part of making this thing quick. Pull you up a trash can right here, and just boom, 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 throw stuff in there. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit different seasoning in the eggs. Kickin' chicken, which is my favorite Weber seasoning. Use that in these eggs. And part of the reason why you want to use different seasonings for different products, even though they're all going into the same thing, is because you may get like a big chunk of eggs, and it'll have a little bit different flavor than the whole thing, and it'll kind of be like a flavor burst in your mouth, and that also makes a meal not become too bland and just the whole entire thing taste alike. So like a lot of times I'll cook my noodles and like my meat separate, and I'll season my meat with something different, I'll season my noodles with something different, or whatever, just that type of concept. But always seasoning things differently from one another helps bring out the flavor in each part of the meal. I'm going to put the price like the Miracle Whip. Since we only use half the container, I'm going to cut what the price of the Miracle Whip is in half. I think it's like $3.50 a jar, so you're looking at about a $1.50 price. But like I said, I'll link it all up in the end. So I got about 6 dill spears. You can use sweet if you like, but their macros are going to be a little bit different on these. These are like, I think 5 calories per like 2 ounces or something like that. So I'm not really going to track the calories on these. I'll probably just say like this is an extra 20 calories. I think we paid like $5 for an entire jar, so this is roughly about maybe 50 cents worth of pickles. And we like to have a little bit bigger chunks of pickle. That way it's kind of like, if you make a sandwich out of it, it's like you don't have to put pickles on your sandwich, they're already in the mix. Another major thing you want to do is you want to write down these meals as you're doing them. That way you can track the macros at the end, and you can also track your finances at the end of how much product you actually put in there, because you might buy a certain amount thinking you're going to put it in there, and you may not put all of it in there. You might have to end up needing more to put in there. So you just want to make sure you're documenting as you're writing things down. And on top of that, you may find out like, oh, it wasn't sweet enough, and it's not going to hurt to add a little bit extra carbs or sugars or whatever to it to make it a better flavor if it didn't quite taste as good as it could.
Hi, Leah.
Alright, so we got the last batch of egg whites cooking. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the tuna salad, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the spinach right now. It's pretty well defrosted. It should break up pretty easily now. I can also tell after I mixed it up that there is hardly any pepper That's another thing with big batches of stuff like this. You use quite a bit of seasonings. I'll go ahead and give y'all show y'all what it looks like. So pretty full now, about up to right here. So maybe right there. So a little bit over half, probably about 3/4 of the way. And we still got half the amount of tuna to add in here. But I want to go ahead and put that in there for now. Go ahead and get that mixed in there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add the last cans of tuna, let the egg whites finish cooking, and I'll give you an update again here in a second. Alright y'all, so we got 24 cans of tuna in here. This is what it turned out to be. I think this is like 12 cups or something like that. When I link the macros up, I'll put how much it divides out. I'm going to divide this into like 2-cup proportions, and let you know what each serving size is, how much it divided it out to being, and link up the macros here in a second. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. Alright, that right there is 15 cups. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So a total of 25 cups of tuna salad, which ended up being quite a bit, as you can see. Yeah, I personally like my tuna salad chilled, so I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And I hope you all like this content. If there's any recipes that you want me to try out, just put it down in the comments below. And if there's anything else that you'd like to see out of this content, also put it down in the comments. Make sure to go ahead and hit that subular button, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.